Good evening, Assalamu alaikum.
Adab and welcome to
The ILB Hot Seat interview. And tonight we have
Janab Ashid Ali,
Principal of London Enterprise Academy.
and the topic today, as you can probably gather from the title, is a broad look at education.
Yes, education and also a children's future, and we can talk about a bit of changes and what's happening in the actual education world basically. So very shortly we are going to invite Ashid Ali to the program live on air, but in the meantime we're going to start sharing this.
Yeah, start sharing it. Sharing is caring. So guys, whoever's online,
All right, it's there.
it's a good idea to start sharing.
Only one person online.
Yeah, Lenny. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum, Lenny. You all right? Let's start to share.
Right, 1 minute. I will share.
Yeah. Okay. Got that. You doing the ILB?
Yeah, I'll do the ILB.
Okay, I'm done. I've done the MBS. Lovely,
Excellent.
jubbly. Let's see. Who else shall we share to? A worthy. Who could it be? Cardiff TV Bangla. Why not?
Go for it.
Lovely, jubbly. Global Bangladeshis.
If you're
Why
coming on,
not?
if you're coming on live and watching us, like
Yes, yes.
anything, we're just trying to share the program
Yes,
before we start properly.
Absolutely. Get it all out there.
What about PVTV?
No, they don't allow external.
Okay.
Right, okay. That's lovely. So, that's done. I'm going to share it to my link.
I'm gonna.
Let's see now. Where is it? Right. Share it with the public.
Right, we've got a
post
few
it.
people online.
Lovely jubbly. So we've got Al Haj Joel Mia. Assalamu alaikum Joel Bhai.
Joel
How
Bhai,
are you?
assalamu alaikum, all the way from Cardiff.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Arif Deshtune, I'm ready. Cardiff is another country, don't forget.
Yes, it is.
So, thank you, Joel Bhai.
We've also got our poet, our very own poet, Asma Khatun. Assalamu alaikum.
Right, Asma, right. I think she'll be interested in this topic. Asma, please try and stay with us and let us know your thoughts, and if you've got any questions or anything like that, please let us know. It's great to have you.
Absolutely. We've also got our regular Jackson Mia. He's in the field. Fieldoniwa. Fieldolamigi, good man.
By the way, I just want to mention we were scheduled for 10 o'clock, but we decided to
Come a little bit early.
little bit earlier.
Yeah.
আমি উল্টা করি বাংলাদেশে মানে late নাহি
বাঙালি টাইম ওনে আমরা মানে বাংলা ইউরো বাংলা টাইম মানে আমরা অ্যাডভান্স
So we do it the other way around. We do it early instead of late.
Yeah. In between, I'm just going to do the shout outs. We've got Abdul Mukid from Birmingham, my Sasa, Assalamu alaikum church. We've also got Dewan Ukilis watching as well.
Assalamu alaikum.
Our fellow admin, Min Ahmed, Assalamu alaikum.
Hi Mina. I just want to do a bit of you carry on with that. I just want to do a bit of introduction to the guest today we're interviewing. He's called Ashid Ali. He's actually the principal of London Enterprise Academy. But London is not where he started off from. He actually lived in Oldham for a number of years, and he did a number of voluntary work for OBYA and other stuff he's done. But we are going to concentrate mainly on education today. A lot of the stuff about education and our children and how
The future.
how we propose to go forward with their children, what's happening, how are they doing compared to years ago, and things like that.
Yeah.
It is a big subject, big topic.
Yeah. We are wary that, whether we can cover it within an hour and a half. We're not going to try and, go over an hour and a half because,
Well,
we're trying to sort of put our programs now into a kind of format.
yeah, I was thinking an hour actually. The very maximum we can do it.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I mean, we said the same with Sir Ali Chaudhry.
Yeah,
You know,
it depends.
Yeah, 45 minutes. Oops, double, 1 hour 50.
1 hour. Right. So what we're saying is it's going to be an hour, usually an hour. But we can overrun a few depending on the questions. And I'm expecting a lot of questions from members. Is Ashid Ali Bhai on board? Is he watching us?
Not yet, but he will be, I'm sure. We've got our fellow admin Jitumia is watching. We've also got Rosie Chaudhry from Rochdale.
Jitu Bhai, assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, we've got Shuel Mia of BACP.
Shuel Mia, okay, assalamu alaikum.
Asma Hatun saying, thank you for the lovely words of welcome. You're most welcome. I was like, like trying to refrain myself.
Welcome. You can send some lovely words back to us
Yes,
as well, you know.
yes,
If
you're-
you want to say something lovely, you can send it all back.
Absolutely. Never be shy.
Actually, Rosie Chaudhary is there. Assalamu alaikum, Rosie. Welcome to the program. আমরা তুমি ভাই তো দেখরা আমরা বাচ্চালে ভাই সাহেব he loves mentioning Batti side right Batti okay so is our Batti ভাই সাহেব তুমি ভাই our admin from ILB as well. Have we got Ashid Ali online yet?
Yes, Ashid Ali looks like he's actually online. So
should we invite him?
Let me just open this up and see who we've got. We've got, ooh, look at that. We've got a lot. So actually, without further ado, I think it's a good idea to bring Ashid Ali on.
Okay, here goes.
And let's
add.
Let's
very soon. It's adding. It's coming very soon.
Yes.
Should we do a countdown?
The wheels of fortune is going round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round.
I don't think that's
no.
Oh, he's on.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Ashid Ali bhai. You're live on air on ILB and other platforms. Welcome to
Assalamu alaikum. Idris bhai and Ijaz Sam, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
I think your screen, if you can we see his I think it's got a bit
no, that's fine. That's fine. If
this is going behind because I have to show you my bald head or tilt the screen.
That's fine. That's fine.
So
let me see if I can tilt this for you.
Okay. No, that's
fine. Right. Let me tilt the screen.
We can't see.
Oh,
that's better.
Yes.
That's better. Well,
happy days.
That is going behind.
Don't worry, we know about your bald head. Everyone knows about it, so you don't have to hide
it's all
it.
right. I'm not yours again. Here today.
No, mine will come back. Ijaz Sam, mine is coming back.
Is it coming back? It's gone on
holiday. Coming back. It has to come back.
Okay, so Ashid Ali bhai, welcome to the show, and thank you for agreeing to take part in the interview. I'm sure it'll be a great insight, and also hopefully some of your responses and the words he will inspire people as well. Our focus today is on education and our children. That's going to be our main focus. But before I do that, I'd like to say well done. Hosted a recent days or so. Haji Sab, we tam nina kito on title. Haji Sab, we should have started off by saying
technically to thank Haji Sab.
Haji Sab Ashid Ali bhai we tam
thank to host with you.
Yeah. Mashallah, it's really good, good to know host for recent day as well. That's really good to hear. So yeah, Aziz Sab, I'm only joking. We can still call you Ashid Ali. That's fine.
Okay. You can call me whichever one is suitable for you and your listeners for today, as long as it's appropriate.
We'll stick to Ashid Ali. Before I go on to the questions and stuff, I'd like to mention the London Lungi Parade event we did a couple of years ago. You actually invited us to London, and also I'm sponsor, but because of you accommodating us, it really happened. I mean, for somebody like us to go from the northern gate, but a heart of Bangla town, and for us to do an event, it was fantastic. And it's thanks to you.
It would have been so hard. It literally
I'm telling you, there are more people in London who are willing to join you if you want to take the initiative again, because a lot of local people didn't know what to expect. Now that they've seen it, now they will embrace you again.
We might pick you up on that,
Ashid Ali is serious. He was serious about.
We might take you up on that because it's our 10th anniversary of ILB. So
I have got a bigger venue now. If you want, last time we were in a small hall. I've got a much bigger hall. I will accommodate more members.
Yes, I mean, Kisuaro obviously, but it was a fantastic event. Everybody loved it, and the characters in the Lungi Parade event and everything was brilliant. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, it's thanks to you and Nurul Haq Bhai for actually allowing us to do that. And it's not often we can go from the north and do an event like that in London. So it was brilliant event. What did you think of it yourself? I mean, as part of that event,
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the competitiveness, the fun side of the whole event. So my staff who joined in, for them to come in, meet the north, meet the south, have a bit of fun, wear your lungi. Because it's not every day that we feel like wearing lungi. Regardless of what people say about London and Tower Hamlets, people say it's the heart of the Bangladeshis. But not many people in Tower Hamlets walk around with lungi. Whereas in parts of Oldham, you can walk around with lungi and nobody will blink an eyelid. I'm not sure if you can do that in Rochdale, but in Oldham, we definitely can.
Absolutely. Jackson Mia said there's a technical issue. They can't hear us. Is that right?
Okay. can you hear us, Ashid Bhai?
I can hear you fine.
All right.
Okay.
Guys, if you can do us a favor and let us know in the comments, whether you can hear us and Ashid Bhai, can you just put a quick comment in and let us know.
Let us know, please.
And while you're at it, don't forget to share and invite your friends over to watch.
Definitely, yeah. So going on to the education side, Ashid Ali Bhai, I've been on a couple of weeks ago, we've had the GCSE results. And every year when the GCSE results come out, we see some fantastic achievements by our children. And on social media, the social media that we can see a lot of the good results out on social media. And every single year we see, our children, especially Bangladeshi children, achieving really, really good results. Right? Do you think, right, compared to a few years ago, do you think our children, with regards to education, especially these exam results, do you think we're actually really progressing with regards to this education, especially with regards to GCSE and A-levels?
Over the past 10 years, the Bangladeshi community across the country has made huge strides because there are national statistics available. At the moment, in terms of educational attainment, the highest is your Chinese, Indian, right? Then you've got communities like Bangladeshis coming in, joining the white British. Pakistanis are slightly behind, but it's really important that every group strives to push forward so that we are living in unknown times, difficult times, because you've got Brexit. 15, 20 years ago when we went to school, school did not prepare us for the jobs that are around now, especially people who grew up in Oldham, Stale, Burnley. We were a mill town. The mills have closed down. We were manufacturing economy. Manufacturing is gone. The service jobs that we used to rely on, telephones and computers, we're now doing a lot of work with iPads and phones. So there's a lot of technical advancement that we've made over the last 10, 15 years. And the future is still unknown. Robotics will play a huge part. It's important that we give our children and young people the ability to adapt to unknown futures. That's the purpose of education now. It's not narrow-minding and channeling them into one particular field. It's giving them the ability to be able to adjust to a changing economy.
So what do you think? I know you mentioned a few reasons here. What do you put the main reason down to the success of these results? What do you put the main reason down to?
Because previously, 20, 30 years ago, our community, we had lots of responsibilities. First, we want to look after ourselves here, but at the same time, we want to look after our families back in Bangladesh. The generation, in terms of generational change, the younger people are looking at, this is our home. People are now buying their own homes. They're becoming owner occupiers. They want to drive nice cars. With that, you need to be either in business or have good jobs. So people have realized there is no easy way of making money. And education is, it's my belief that that's the only way in terms of social mobility, in terms of getting away from life, reliance on culture, so reliance on social housing and benefits. And, we see it around us, whether we look at Oldham, Birmingham, London, people who've gone to universities, I tend to have a better life. Yes, there are some examples of people who go into business, they've made it work. Yep, they've got fantastic housing and cars. These are small numbers. But in terms of the actual drivers of societal change, it's the people who've gone to university and beyond, who are now taking advantage of this changing economy, taking advantage of the ability to make money, even though people are talking about prosperity and austerity and so on. There is always the opportunity for people to come out and say, I'm going to focus on providing what is needed in society. So even when you go through tough times, new services come in, people come in and say, look, I can make money out of this. And it's the people who are forward thinking who will thrive in these changing times.
I'm going to throw a spanner in the works here. I'm going to ask you the next question. It might sound a bit controversial. And we're seeing a lot of private tuition companies all over now, a lot of private tuition, right? Some people might say it's down to all these doing these extra classes, these private tuition classes, and you can see for yourself a lot of private tuition classes are thriving. Yeah. So would you put it down to that? If so, do you think our education system is failing them? That's why people are having to resort to private tuition.
A lot of people who go into private tuition are not necessarily the students who are struggling. It's the parents who are affluent. It's the students who are going to get good grades anyway. It's getting the extra support to give them the reassurance that they are on the right track. Okay, so if you think about back in the days when we used to learn back in Bangladesh, a lot of the learning was through memorization. We don't need to memorize things. We need young people to have the ability to be able to answer difficult questions during exam situations. So people who come from middle class background, their parents will spend time with their children, getting them into the routines and good habits from a young age. I say, an English exam is 2.5 hours. You will sit on the exam condition for 2.5 hours and you practice those papers. Previously, going back 10, 15 years, our Bangladeshi families did not do that. Why? The children come home, you have to get changed, eat, go to the mosque, come back from mosque, don't disturb us. We try to do sewing in the house. The father comes from work in the factories or the restaurants. They try to manage different roles. Whereas now, even amongst our young Bangladeshis, the parents in their 30s and 40s, they're thinking about this country, and they're thinking about how does the other half of society live. The other half of society have routines. They wake up in the morning, they have breakfast with their children. They make sure that the child goes to school ready. Not the school's job is to prepare my child with books and pens and pencils. No, my child will go to school ready with books, pencils, homework done. When they come home, there will be established routines. This is what you do from 4 o'clock till 6 o'clock. This is what you do from 6 till 8. Then you might go into some martial arts classes. You might go into some performing arts, theaters, and so on. We still have a large number of our families who go to the Arabic classes. They should continue doing that. Now, I'm not going to stop them from doing that, but
So
when they come back,
to a parent whose child is struggling in education, all that, and a suggestion might have come through, oh, you should send him to private tuition to get him up to that level. What would you say to that scenario?
For example, if you look at a town like Oldham, at a given time, you probably got 3,500 15, 16-year-olds preparing for GCSEs. Okay, that's a town like Oldham. So if you look at the private tuition in Oldham, you will not get 10% of that going to private tuition. So the other 90% are succeeding without the private tuition. Okay, so the important thing is, are we giving our young people the opportunity to be ready so that they don't become scared of exams? Exams are daunting, it's stressful time. We've been through it. We know that it can make or break your futures. On a good day, you might get a star. On a bad day on the same paper, you might get a C or a D. So we can go back to grading because the gradings have changed. Again, being able to go into the exam prepared and relax. It's hard. 15, 16-year-old has to juggle a lot of things. Even as adults, we struggle when you've got 4 bills landing on your doorstep. You think, how am I going to cope? Well, come May, June, you will get students with 20, 25 different exams. They might be studying 10 papers, 10 subjects, but with that, it'll be about 20, 25 exams. And juggling that and preparing for that, it's hard. And the middle class children are prepared, and more of our children are getting prepared for that as well.
Brilliant. Right. Do you want to read some comments?
I'll just make a couple of acknowledgements of folks that have joined us since. Shahjan Mia has joined us. Nanu Mia is watching from all the way from Birmingham.
Birmingham, yeah.
Yes.
Nanu Bhai, assalamualaikum.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching.
Our Dr. Bling. The Shahjan Mia, hello, Huison.
Yeah, you said Shahjan.
Amra Momia yo dekhra. Litton Khan is watching.
Yahya Chowdhury, Mr. Ali, keep it up. I don't know if you know Mr. Yahya Chowdhury. Is it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people on there I do know.
All right.
Yeah, keep up the great work. You're serving the community, mashallah.
Yes, I'm like, no, you're watching.
Yeah, yeah. And that Muzaid Khan, everyone knows him. He's watching.
Yeah.
Muhammad Abdul Hamid Tipu, I'm that Rostelet.
Assalamualaikum.
Rostelet. We used to be a co-presenter at Boishaki Bangla.
Yeah, very good.
We had some good banter going on, and now he's actually working in Oldham. He's a man of legal know-how. Yeah. I'm just gonna jump into one of our viewers have actually actually made a statement. Aisha Alum saying, yes, the schools are becoming academies, and our school education is not the same as back in the 90s. Now, I was going to also add something to that. You know, like back in the late 70s and 80s, you know, we used to have quite a lot of practical work, i.e., you know, woodwork, metalwork, and stuff, you know, general knick-knack stuff, practical physical work. I think that's the to be honest with you, you know, I think all my kids have grown up, so to be honest with you, from my memory, I can't remember them, you know, actually bringing any crafts home, you know, from, you know, woodwork or.
It's a big change.
You know, it has been a huge change, and I know the government has realised that there's a huge gap in terms of people with skills, hands-on skills, because, you know, I'm not criticising anyone. You know, like, don't get me wrong, and don't misunderstand
but at the same time,
I'm
we have
just
to move
saying,
with the times.
some people can't, you know, can't even put a nail in, or, you know, like put a hinge on the door. Whereas people of our generation, not a problem. We'll just take a hammer and a chisel.
Not always.
You know,
I was hopeless with putting the
you got me.
Let me answer this question for you, okay? It is.
Sorry, you were saying.
I can't say you hit the nail in the head because we are not teaching children to hit the nail that much, okay? As I said before, the economy is changing, right?
Yeah.
You know, the manufacturing sector is moving away. You know, in terms of the demands of our society, we can buy these laborers to come from overseas, to come in and do these jobs. But it's really, really important that we, you know, we train our young people with, I can't say the skill that society needs now, the society will need in 10, 15, 20 years down the road. So the important part here is the ability to adjust in a changing economy. We need to be able to read and write. We need to be able to think analytically and creatively. Okay, yes, if you can, you know, fix a door and change a light bulb, it's really important that you can do those basics. But this is no, there isn't that many jobs out there available. This current government is pushing for some people to look at apprenticeships as, you know, a good way for them to progress beyond 16. There will always be elements of society who like that. You know, I spent 3.5 weeks with somebody from Burnley in Hajj, and his son did GCSEs, and he actually did pretty well. Right? And I said, is he going to do A-levels? He said, no, I'm going to put him into apprenticeships. I want him to become a plumber. These skills are important because we need them. Right? We need them because, you know, otherwise plumbers make good money, especially some of your friends Idris from Glodic charge me a lot of money in terms of the call-out charge, whether it's a boiler or there's a gas pipe. And no, there is a demand for that, and we need to make sure that there is sexual society who are ready to take on those challenges. But majority of the jobs are high-tech.
A point there, sorry to stop you there, about the skills. I think if we compare it to our time and nowadays, I think the basics, life skills, they're not learning as much as we used to do in our time, and that is unfortunate. And I think that's a sign of the times.
I mean, some of us, you know, again, Ashid Ali covered it, you know, like in terms of the finances as well, because finances can constrict certain activities. Certain activities bypass or, you know, supersede it due to its priority, if you will. And therefore some things get, you know, like sort of shut behind or, you know, like brushed under the carpet. Another example, you know, like when we were kids, when we went to school, we used to take cooking classes as well, you know. So essentially in school, they didn't just teach us how to
but they
read.
Still do. They still take cooking classes.
Not as much though.
Not as much.
Much.
Before Asma goes offline, I need to ring. Asma mentioned something about. He said, if a child is struggling in school, don't look for private tuition. Speak to the school and their teacher. I don't really believe in private tuition, which creates a bit of two-tier system. That's Asma's view. I made a very good point actually. I think I've done it a number of times with regards to my son, when he was struggling a bit with those issues. I spoke to the head teacher. I went to the school. You know, they gave him extra help and support, and that's what we should be doing rather than immediately go to private tuition. What do you say to that, Ashid Ali?
Just fine. There's 2 or 3 points here, right? First of all, I want to go back to EJ Sam's point of the crafts and the skills, right? Rabindranath Tagore is one of our greatest writers of all time, not just from the Bengal and India. No, he said, don't judge your child's learning as the same as yours because he was born in a different times. Now, that was him saying several hundred years back. No, like we said, times have changed. In terms of private tuition, I said to you, if you want to reinforce that learning, to make sure that your child can consolidate what they have learned in school, you will, some people will get private tutors, other people, will say, okay, this is our routine. You get your books out, you carry on working at home, get into the habits of finding answers to some of your own problems. If you look at your own children, how many of them are actually physically picking up textbooks? They don't need to because they can get information from the laptop, from
the internet. Yeah. Professor Google.
I think it's stopped there.
Yeah, লাগে তো মনে হয় আশিদ ভাই ইন্টারনেটে কিছু সমস্যা করে।
Okay, we'll hopefully we'll get you back very soon.
Yeah, we're back. Are we back?
Nope.
No.
Is all right on here. Ashid bhai, can you hear us?
Ashid bhai, দেখা যায়, like there's a thing. I think there's a problem. Is he back? No, we lost him.
He will come back again. Apologies for that. So,
no worries. I'm just gonna try and bring him back on.
I'll just read a couple of comments whilst we wait for Ashid Ali to come back.
Oh yes, it's gone from his side. So I'll let him join us again.
Okay, I'm ready. Yeah, Chaudhry bhai. I don't think I can move my. I think yours has got a bigger screen. So and the writing is very clear.
Yeah. It's because I'm Khana, you see.
No, Khana to dekhte parte nahi na.
Mana ada Khana ar ki am happy there.
All right.
Right. Okay. So Yahya Chaudhry kita huida. Then huida we need leaders like Mr. Ali. I worked with Mr. Ali many years ago, and he hasn't changed. He changed his priorities.
For a minute, I thought it was me.
All right. Okay. Yali nawa. Yeah. So anyway, I would have benefited from learning how to cook. Yeah, so would all of us. But we can only try. We've got quite a few people actually watching.
Brilliant, yeah, I've got a lot of people watching. By the way, cooking, can I just go back on the point about cooking?
Yeah.
My kids,
I'll just see if Ashid Bhai has actually come back online. You carry on.
Yeah, the cooking wise in it, I'm sure cooking still goes on. There's
yes, Ashid Bhai is back, but for some reason I can't select him.
He needs to.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Right.
Can we not add him on?
Not quite. Just give it a few seconds.
I think we can do it now.
Where are we?
No,
it's not allowing us.
Technical issues as always.
Yes. Merry Christmas. Ashid Ali Bhai is back. I'm dining him in again.
Enjoy the meal.
Yeah, enjoy the meal. The wheels on the bus go round and round.
I can hear you, boys.
We were just doing a nursing.
I can hear you. I don't know what your technical problem is.
Technical, you've gone quiet again.
Right, let me get that sorted.
He's done it again. Should we start doing the nursery rhyme?
Hang on. Is he coming back? Or is he stuck in a
portal? Frozen.
He's gone to a different dimension.
We need to, public pastime, we need to entertain our...
Right, okay. So, as we were saying, the wheels on the bus
go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus
motion
go round and round all day. Okay, so we've got Ishaq Bhai,
Ramda Tawheed Rahman Bhai Dekhra, Mohammad Shahjan Bats is watching as well. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Aisha Alome Huida Gita. We Asians pay for our children to go to madrasas, etc. But why do more Asians not pay to go to private, or for some reason my screen's frozen and I can't scroll down?
I think her point, we Asians, why do we Asians not go private or grammar schools? I think we've already covered that, and there was a number of responses. We've already covered what you see. Those who can afford to, that's fine. We're not saying you can't, but there are some who can't afford to. And it shouldn't be just that main aim, private tuition. If somebody's struggling, we should look at other avenues as well.
Private tuition, I just wanted to add, actually speak to Ashid Bhai about this. Like I say, I'm one of the fortunate ones. I'm really fortunate that I was born in this country, raised in this country, but at the same time, you know, with frequent, you know what? If I had actually had a frequent flyer miles card, man, I would have had so many free flights. But anyway, Bangladesh allow and the difference, you know, like, especially when you're being educated in two different countries and two different cultures, you get to see, you know, like the way, you know, education system works. And in Bangladesh, from what I've seen, is it's obligatory, you know, for you to turn up at class. The teacher just basically turns around and says, right, turn to page 274, paragraph 5, and you start reading from there. And then afterwards, they'll stop you mid-sentence and say, right, from the next sentence, you go and read. And after
you sound
that,
like a teacher there, honestly. You do sound like a teacher. Like,
I'm working on my drama skills.
Oh, yeah. You're a good at acting.
My acting skills.
You want to see Ashid Ali? Is he back?
Yeah. So basically what I'm trying to say is that bring Idris Ali on camera? No.
Idris Ali? No, not me.
No, he's already on camera. Right. For some odd reason, Ashid Ali is not watching. So that means I can't bring him on. So maybe he's having some technical difficulties.
What's he saying? Is he saying he can't come on?
No, I can't see him.
Right. We'll just carry on. We'll just read a few comments.
Oh, here we go. I think we've got, Ashid Ali is back online. Beep, 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 beep.
There he is.
Here we go. Let's invite him back on. Are we doing the wheels on the bus?
Wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round all day.
This mic, can you hear me?
Yeah. We were just doing nursery. We were waiting. Right. Okay. We can hear you loud and clear. Don't freeze.
Right. I'm really sorry. I don't know if it's my end or your end, but we clearly have some technical difficulties.
It probably is.
Don't worry. I think we've got superpowers. We freeze you.
I know, it's like, actually, why? If I had those powers in real life, man, the things I could have achieved. Like, freeze.
Yeah. So, going back on the point that we made earlier, actually, you were saying about you couldn't finish what you were saying, so we'll let you carry on.
Now, someone actually mentioned about the need for private tuition. So what I'm saying is, as a society, there is a group of us Bangladeshis who are progressive, who are accepting that UK is our home. We are here to stay. We're going to make a life out of this country. We are trying to catch up with the middle class society. Not only are we having professional jobs, we want holidays, we want nice cars, we want meals out, and the holidays are no longer just Bangladesh and back. People are going to the United Arab Emirates, people are going to the Far East, people are visiting North African countries and beyond. And it's really important that we support that group so that others can follow and say, we are now international human beings, not just Bangladeshis who are in the UK, and we're going to get kicked back out to Bangladesh, because that's not going to happen. Unless things do change, it's not going to happen. It's not something that I've ever believed in. But also, we need to make sacrifices.
I can't hear you.
Sorry, say that again, Ashid Bhai.
He's frozen again. Can you hear us?
We can hear you.
All right.
Is this why we can hear you?
Right, okay. If you roll back a couple of sentences.
Yeah. Right. You can carry on now. I think we can hear you. We're getting some technical difficulties. It's not very clear.
Okay, look.
It's the curse of MBS. Because when we had our studio, we had the same problem. We had internet problem. Now that I've fixed the internet problem, now we're having our guests having internet.
Actually, carry on, see if we can hear you. You just carry on. He's frozen again.
Yeah, it's turned into a kulfi.
Oh no. Whose side? No, you're back again. You're back. Hello?
I'm back with you, but I can hear myself.
You're back now.
Oh, feedback. Right. Have you got the speaker on loud?
We can hear you perfectly well. Okay.
Now, we hear you now. Carry on. Sorry.
Brilliant.
Okay, so it's important that we are making sacrifices so that our focus is on our current generation. Education is really important because one group of people that I meet.
Oh no. We might have to. Which side is the problem from? Should we just?
No, it's definitely from the other side because.
So our connection is fine.
We're transmitting from here and we're looking at the monitors and it's working.
EJ,
Fine.
this one. I am fine,
Yes.
but I can hear a delay.
We can't hear you clearly. Can you check the connections and things from your side, please? And do you have any interference?
Yeah, it looks like it's from the other side because
we're fine on this side.
When we're looking on the monitors, it's fine. It's working fine.
I'm not Jackson Mia. He's from the other side.
Yeah, Jackson Mia. Yeah, he's always in the field. Oh, Tarfuro, our classmate Shuaib Ahmed Chaudhry Joel. Assalamu alaikum, bro. I hope you're enjoying the show.
Yeah, Amrad Parvez Ahmed Jalil Bhai he was really looking forward to this. So it's a pity we can't actually.
Oh, Jaffi Mia from Bangladesh
is watching.
Yeah.
Can you say, Ashid Ali Bhai, can you hear us?
Idris,
hello.
I can hear you, but I can hear about 3-minute delayed responses.
Delayed responses. I would imagine there's right. You carry on. Let me just go just double check.
Yeah. So
the speed.
we'll just carry on plodding along.
Yeah.
As much as we can.
And, I'm just checking the Wi-Fi.
Sorry about this. The 2 hour. There was a lot of people watching. I do apologize. We didn't expect this, but there you go. Live feed. This is what happens. I'm just gonna
live.
Yeah. The beauty of going live. So I did read out Asma's point. Oh, just go like this. Can you hear us now, Ashid Ali Bhai?
It is right. I don't know what issue. Do you want to switch over and start again?
Sorry? No,
I can see you. I can hear you, but I can hear delayed response from about 5 minutes ago.
Have you got your loudspeaker on by any chance?
I'm on the phone. There's nothing else here.
Nothing. You've got no Bluetooth devices attached to it? Maybe an earpiece, perhaps?
I've got nothing here.
No, could you name it?
No.
And is the Wi-Fi good?
No, I can hear now. Idris talking from what he said 3 minutes ago.
We can hear you now.
Yeah, the internet connection is super fast.
Our side with the connection is fine. Let me just introduce you. Whilst we wait for that, I'm just going to mention a few people. Asma's made another comment. Same as NHS provision. If we didn't have the option of private healthcare, everyone, including the powers that be, had to access NHS service. It would drastically improve and more funding would be allocated to it. Which is a good point.
Yeah.
I'd just like to give a shout out to Parvez Ahmed Jalil Bhai. He's from Blackburn. He's a regular watcher of these programs, a regular ILB member.
This way, I'm going to go off and try again.
Okay, try again.
You see, there's another excellent question. Aisha we're basically saying, not sure if you have covered, but do parents put too much pressure on kids to do well? Now, obviously, Ashid Bhai's gone offline, probably to reboot his phone. In the meantime, like from our experience, when we were kids, well, I'm talking about me. When I was a kid,
when you were a kid,
that was
before
eons.
Before,
I mean, the dinosaurs were still around then.
My God,
I know.
I wasn't around then.
I know. But as I was saying, and from there, I used to take extra classes at school. After school, extra classes because I used to do music, and I used to stay behind for cooking as well. So I did extra classes. When I came home, I was home just about in time for Mohtob, Arabi Fura. And once I finished Arabi Fura, at the end, you know, it was like homework time. You know, any homework that I had, any research or stuff, or I used to do a lot of reading.
Right.
You know, I used to be a bookworm. Now, on the weekends, weekends we had obviously, you know, like Saturday and Sunday no school, but at the same time, you know, like we had Bangla school.
Yeah.
So
we had Bangla school.
we had to spend half a day in Bangla school, and then we only had half of Saturday left.
So, in answer to that question, do you think were you?
I don't think
so.
I don't think I was pressured. Now, one of my professors, you know, like I actually posed a similar question about, you know, child education. You know, like how much information can a child, you know, take, and up to the point of being overloaded. And a good analogy was given by my professor, and the analogy was like a child's brain is like a sponge, a dry sponge.
There you go. You speak like a teacher again.
You put the sponge, you know, like in a plate full of water, and it will absorb as much as it can to its capacity. So basically saying, you know,
Things that actually is by his back now.
yeah, essentially, you know, to answer your question, I don't think so, unless there are other pressures apart from, you know, here we go, Ashid Ali.
I don't think that you're enjoying me.
Yeah.
Right. In answer to Aisha's question, I wouldn't say the pressure is. I think the pressure nowadays.
Yes,
is
Ashid Ali
social
is
media.
back.
Is this by EJ? I'm back.
He's
Loud
back.
and clear. We can hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic.
We were just responding to Aisha Alam's question about. She was asking, do you think we put too much pressure on our children to do well?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Children need to have a childhood, right? And children also need to be ready to compete with young people around them of the same age and same ability. So,
Yeah.
you know, depending on, some parents will say it's really important that we nurture our kids, we let them be happy, we let them enjoy themselves. That part of growing up is really important, right? But also, after you spent, 11 years, 13 years in secondary school, right, you really want to make sure that you leave with a piece of paper that says, yep, I've had fun, I've made lots of friends, but I've gained enough qualifications to move on to the next stage of my life. And what we don't want is a group of young people who say that, it's all about enjoying and having fun, and let's not worry about tomorrow, because there is a tomorrow out there, and if you're not prepared for it, somebody else will be preparing their children, and then you will be left behind.
Yeah, I tell you what does put pressure these days, and it's not the children, it's social media that put pressure on parents, then put pressure on kids. Because on social media, on results day, you see we swam to people posting, oh, my son's got 10 A stars, 3 A stars. Constantly people posting stuff. I think that may have an effect on the parents.
Yeah.
Then has an effect on the children. So, oh, this guy's son or daughter has achieved 8 A stars. You've seen it yourself, actually, when you go on social media.
I see that regularly. Right. Social media, there is a platform for it, there's a place for that. We are on it now as we speak. It's connected our world. We can be at any one time. I'm sat in London, you guys are in Greater Manchester, and there's a place for that. But what is also really important is, as parents, we should not compare our children to other children. We want our children to achieve their personal best, and that might be different. No, I meet a lot of parents who want their children to become very pious, religious, hafiz, and at the same time become academic and be a doctor. There are young people who can manage all this. There are other young people who will crack under pressure. And we have to get the balance right. We need to understand our children. And in doing that from a young age, it's important that, both parents spend time, getting to know their kids, finding out what their interests and hobbies are, making time for their interests and hobbies. And at this, then the children will have a better bonding with their, parents, and more likely to be able to believe and support their ambition. Because what you will find is 15, 20 years ago, we used to look up to, the restaurant boss who had the nicest cars, who built the nicest mansions in Bangladesh. Times have changed. People are now using their children as their trophies, right?
Yes.
And we need to get that balance right. look, my child is a graduate, my child's got 11 A stars and whatever. That is important, but you cannot compare all the children to be on the same wavelength, because we are all individuals.
Easy way to say that, but social media has such an effect and such an impact. I mean, we include everyone on this here. It does have a massive impact, right? When someone posts results on there and other people see it and all that, it does have an effect and impact. You have to, you can't deny that, can you? Yeah.
Then then I would say switch it off. That's a simple answer. Because one of the advice that I give to people is, I will get parents coming in and say, my son usually it's the boys are addicted to games. I said, you are the parent, switch the Wi-Fi off. Because if you're not parenting them now, when they're 15, 16, 17, they will be running your house. So whilst they're young, 11, 12, 13, you set the rules in the house. You give them parameters. This is what you're allowed. That's the number of hours you can get social media. I'm in charge of the house at the moment. And when you can pay your own bills and you have your, mortgage or whatever, then you make your rules. And it's really important that adults behave as adults.
Nice. On that point, I was going to ask you this question later on, but I'm going to pose this question now. You're talking about discipline and all that, right? I think it is the schools have a part to play in all this disciplining the children. Nowadays, I think parents were able to discipline us more easier than nowadays. Nowadays, disciplining the children is not easy, and the schools don't help on this. I've been a school governor for a number of years. I know it's not very easy. I know what you're saying. You should tell the kids not to do this. It's not easy. It's a lot harder to discipline them, mainly due to the generation. Also, the schools will be up in arms, or with any kind of discipline, the school will be the first one to ask, well, why have you done this and that? So it's not very easy. What do you say to that?
It is fine. Discipline has changed. Like I said, work has changed. The way we work has changed. EJ Sam would prepare children to learn to use hammer and chisel, carry bricks, make things out of wood. Right? No, they're not doing that. Okay. In terms of discipline, we cannot bring the cane back. We are in different age, different generation. So one of the tips that I give to parents is, if your child's got a PS3, PS4, whatever it might be, you're in charge. Take the HDMI cable off, put it in the back of your car, lock it, and say, you do your homework, you behave. Friday night, it will come back out again. Sunday evening, it goes back in the boot, so that you can focus on your learning and your education. There are different forms of discipline. Let the children earn rewards at home, as well as in schools. Education does not stop at our doors.
Schools have a part to play? Schools think, right, I say, after they go home, that's it. Got nothing to do with it. It's only school time. But schools play a big part in how the behavior of the children they carry on at home as well. And I don't think, my personal view is, I think schools are taking the easy way out, only school time, and after that, they don't care anything. I think they can play a big part.
Schools have a huge part to play in this way. And like you said, you've been a governor of a school, for many, many years. Discipline and learning does not stop at our doors. It carries on when they go home. If parents need parenting courses, schools provide parenting courses so that they can become better parents. Because like I said, you cannot have teenagers ruling your house at that age, because when they do that, you will lose control of them. And if you're not giving time to your children when they're 13, 14, they will not need your time when they're 16, 17, 18, because they can stand by themselves. They can make a living, whether it's a good living or not. They can make an earning, whether it's through ad hoc jobs or proper jobs that they do. So it's important that you build relationship with your children from a young age, and they get understanding. In our days, in the 80s and early 90s, when we went to school, our parents didn't come to parents' evening. It's important that our parents now do go to parents' evening, do engage, do celebrate those small steps that the children make progress. You put on social media a few months ago, your child went to school 11 years with 100% attendance. That is magnificent. I know, to go to school on Eid Day, fundamentally I'm against it, but that was you, and said to your son, you were determined to make that happen. It happened. Other parents need to have the priorities right and say, this is what we are going to achieve as a family. You will make sure that you do all your homework on time. You get the postcards home, you get the certificates. Because some parents don't value those certificates. When you spend 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whether it's at university or medical school, you come home with a piece of paper, it's called a certificate. Okay, so it's important that our parents acknowledge and celebrate those small steps, rather than saying it's only a piece of paper, put it away, and go to bed.
the reason I said that, made that comment is we've seen recently there's a lot of antisocial behavior happens, big fights after school. There's certain things happening, people being bullied. It starts off in school. Then it carries on afterwards. And then the schools try to say, oh, no, it's got nothing to do with this, it's afterwards, we can't do anything. But the actual problem actually starts in school. And then they just turn a blind eye. Whatever happens at home, it's got nothing to do with us, it's to do with parents. But that's why I'm saying schools...
That is really, really unfair to teachers up and down the country who are working really hard to make sure every child is safe, not only whilst at school, but outside school. What I can promise you is if children are arranging fights, they're engaging in antisocial behavior through social media, and you can take a screen print to the school, that is something that the school will refer to the police. That's a police matter. Any kind of online bullying, social media type bullying is a guaranteed police matter. All right, for example, in London, every secondary school has a police officer attached to it. I tend to use mine far, far less than a lot of schools do, because I'm trying to get those values established with the kids coming to school. If I have to use it, I will not hesitate. I have brought the police when it's been children bullying each other online. Okay, and other head teachers up and down the country will do the same. Okay, they will not wash their hands. If two schools are involved in an incident, people get recognized through the uniform. I know the general public are very good this day and age to report to the schools, because it doesn't cost money to make a phone call. You don't have to get out of the bus, find the phone box, put 10 pence in. They pick the phone up, people got credit. They'll say children from your school were misbehaving on that bus. Schools will then call the bus company. They'll get the videos and they will deal with the kids. And it's really important that we engage with schools and the teachers and society as a whole respond to cooperating with schools so that we can address it at all levels.
Okay, thank you for that. Just connected to that, sorry, I've got a few questions. Just connected to that question, I've got another question for you. A lot of our kids are turning to drugs, alcohol, antisocial behavior. And again, I go back to the school. Do you think, again, with regards to drugs, alcohol, antisocial behavior, do you think schools can play any part to that? I don't see many. I've been a school, like I said, I've been a school governor for a number of years, right? I don't see many drugs sessions in school. I don't see many, alcohol is bad for you, drugs is bad for you. And those, we see other stuff, but we don't see much of that. Why is that the case? Why are we not promoting that drugs and alcohol is not good? We need to do more of that in schools.
Right. There is drugs education. There is personal social health education. We call it the PSHCE. In a program, school like ours, for example, only recently we paid for a reformed former addict to come in and speak to our young people. Some of the messages that he came across with was good, but that should only apply to a small percentage of young people. What we don't want is to label a certain community or whole geographical area as having issues. One of the issues that a lot of politicians will say is antisocial behavior, drugs, alcohol, crime is on the rise because of down to police cuts. Because having police on the street is really important to preventing things from happening. You and I know that if we were driving on the streets, if we wanted to park up on a single line, we would do it providing there was no traffic warden. But then if there was a camera watching you, you would not park up there. You'd move away and find a separate place. Likewise, if we had more police officers on the streets, young people will think twice before engaging into criminal activities. And something else that I could say, whilst I was in Hajj in August, for example, in an area like Tower Hamlets, the police numbers is not that great, but there was a huge raid using the Met Police to make sure that they can come in and do a blitz on crime and drugs and illegal activities, whether it's money laundering or illegal immigrants living in houses. And does it work? It does deter people from engaging in those activities.
Right, yeah. Just to reiterate, my point was I think we need to do more sessions on drugs, alcohol, I know we're doing it, but I think we focus too much on other stuff, and we don't focus as much on drugs, alcohol in school. I think we need to have more sessions of that. Sorry, did you want to say something?
No. Yeah. I was just having a peep on your list. I'm thinking, what's been covered?
Okay, thanks for answering that. My next question would be with regards to especially when in areas where there's a lot of the ethnic minority, the sort of subjects that you have, do you focus on cultural awareness and Bangladeshi culture, or would you have specific topics focused on that?
Okay, so what I can tell you is this way: as a school, I will be doing this service if I didn't focus on the end goal. No, you and I love football. At the end of the day, yes, today my team lost. Right? People don't care how well you played; they remember the score at the end. Right? They don't care about the percentage of possession you have, number of shots on target, right? But you have to hit the back of the net, and that's what counts at the end. So the GCSE grades are important. For me, it's the English baccalaureate, getting that combination of qualifications that are really important. But what I can tell you is we do cultural activities. We did recently celebrate the 21st February, and we are quite fortunate in terms of our location being close to Aldgate East. We take every year our year sevens to the Shohid Minar, and we call it an international day. So we bring parents, children from various backgrounds, and they celebrate the cuisines. We do international activities so that they can learn about different countries of the world, different cultures of the world, religion, languages, things that we have in common. But I do bring in, like you said, 21st February, it's the 21st of February, International Mother Language Day came about because of the 4 students that were killed in Bangladesh. So, we bring that in. And we did do, as part of the 26th of March, with a cultural evening, where we brought in performers from outside so that our community, parents, children can have the part of their culture, the part of the Bengali music, and some of that which has been missing, because young people, regardless of what background they are, they know what's in the top of the pops, and they're aware of that through TV and radio. But it's important that we give them that well-rounded education. So if you look at
the reason I ask you that, we've got all our kids in schools, and when they come in, sometimes they'll come in, oh, it's a Chinese New Year, we've got this new thing we're doing. Oh, it's this Spanish thing we're doing, this French thing we're doing. So they do have a lot of stuff that they do for other countries. Why not do things like, where the majority of peoples are from? That's all I'm saying. So if they can do things for them,
schools will do more. Schools will do more. What schools are asking for is parents groups to come forward and say, we will work with you, we will support you. I know there are schools in London which do community days where parents are saying, we will come and help you out. We will bring our samosas and pakoras and biryanis and give you a hand with this, so that you can have your focus on the teaching and learning, but give the children some time, whether it's during lesson time or after school hours, so that they can take part in these celebrations and festivities. So parents need to go forward and say, we will work with you. This is Bengali New Year. This is Pakistani Cultural Day. This is Afro-Caribbean Awareness Day. And schools will listen, and they will be, they will welcome that with open hands.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm just going to read a few comments out. In terms of goals, most Bengali families want to focus on the vanilla subjects such as maths, science, and social science, etc., and have a career in those things. What barriers do you face when there are students who want to participate in careers such as music, acting, or other non-conventional subjects as a career? What barriers do you face?
Okay, so it's good that you're asking me about Bangladeshi, because in terms of my school, we've got about 65% Bangladeshis. So I meet a lot of Bangladeshi parents, and they want the children to become doctors. And what I say to the parents is, give them the option. Okay, we are on the city fringe. We've got Canary Wharf in Tower Hamlets. There are hundreds of thousands of people who are coming in here, earning 6 figures every year. Some of them work for 3-4 years, they move back out. We want your children to be having those careers. So from a young age, what I do, I take our students to a range of universities. So you've got your local ones like the Queen Mary, University of East London. Then you've got the big London ones, King's College, UCL. But I also take them to Oxford and Cambridge, because that's the ambitious one where the top 2% of society are aiming for. I want our children to be aiming for that as well. If they get the right combination of subjects, they can switch. We provide a huge program of enrichment activities. So in that program, there is your Arabic language, there is your Islamic history, there is your music, there is your math science activities, lots of sports like boxing, karate, as well as your traditional cricket, football, badminton. So we try and provide all that. Some of my staff deliver Mendi
So,
and henna.
one question is there, if a child comes to you, he goes, you want to be an actor, you want to go into music,
Yep.
but parents say I need to support for that.
No, I
You've
understand
got
that.
this issue. So what would you do? What would you do in that scenario? His parents saying, don't you dare, you can't go into music.
Right.
Right?
Parents
and
are ultimately Parents are ultimately responsible for the children. As a school, we will give them appropriate advice and guidance. If they want careers guidance, every school will have careers officers in school, and they will also buy in people from outside. For example, next Tuesday and Wednesday, I've got a team of Barclays people coming in to work with my year 10s on CV writing, interview skills, preparing for next stage. We will have all our students at the end of year 10 doing work experience, which costs the school a lot of money, but it's important that we give them that flavor. But if parents want to pigeonhole the child from a young age, then I think they're doing a disservice. They need to have, they need to broaden the horizon of the children and say, look, if you did these combination subjects, they can then go to college and have those subjects available to you. If you narrow yourself from an early age, children might lose interest. Think about when you were in school. What do you want to be? I know what I wanted to be. I wanted to be an aircraft engineer because we had British Aerospace in Chariton. Right? As we were growing up, British Aerospace was disappearing. Right? Then I said I want to be a diplomat. Right? So I went to university, I did a degree in geography. I wanted to travel around the world. Right? Have I done traveling? Yes, I have. Do I need to use negotiation and diplomatic skills every day with kids and adults? Yes, I do. Right? So you can't signpost a child too early because things will change. Interests and hobbies will change. They might dislike a particular subject once they reach a certain age.
I've got one final question. I'm going to leave my final question. I'll let AJ, I've done a lot of talking, asking questions.
No. They're all relevant. Don't forget.
Obviously, at the end, we're going to ask you the 10 questions about Hati Bangali. Don't forget, I'm going to put you on the spot. One final question is about you and your connection to Bangladesh. How much love do you have for Bangladesh? And tell me about your connection to Bangladesh.
I absolutely love Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a beautiful country. What we need is a bit more security and safety for families when they go to Bangladesh. Because, I was there 2 years ago and I spent some time in Dhaka, lots of time in Sylhet, including making sure that my child did go to Grand Sultan, the Palace Resort. So they remember and they will say, take me back to Bangladesh, again, provided I can stay in these places. Right? What a lot of our parents do is take them to Bangladesh, leave them in the village, get the mosquitoes, there's no electricity, the fans don't work, there's no aircon, and they come back in the summer and say, I don't want to go back again. They need to see the beauty of Bangladesh.
Right? Are you proud to be a Bengali? Are you proud to be a Bangladeshi?
I am extremely proud to be Bangladeshi, yes.
Why? Why are you proud to be Bangladeshi? Tell me.
Because the Bangladeshi heritage, I've been brought up, I was born in Bangladesh, came to the UK at the age of, I think it was about 8. I can read and write in Bangladesh, but I can't remember the last time I wrote a letter in Bangla, probably over 20 years ago. But it's really important that you are proud of your heritage and you pass that on to your children. So my kids have been to Bangladesh twice. I'd love to go more, but you'd realize that last 10, 12 years, summer holidays has mostly been around Ramadan. So I want them to go to Bangladesh so that they can actually enjoy what Bangladesh has to offer, whether it's the the beautiful sights, the fruits from the trees that they can eat. But if they're going Ramadan, spending the whole day fasting, and in the evening you've got no electricity and mosquitoes, then they will not enjoy Bangladesh.
Yeah. To be honest, we need role models like yourselves and other people. We've got great people in the community, and I think you're a great example as a Bangladeshi. For you to be like a principal of a college, that's fantastic. That's a big proud thing for us all Bangladeshis, actually. That's what I would like to mention. Yeah. And we need more role models like yourself, who's into education, principal of college. So I think I'd like to say that what a good role model you are, and we need more people like yourselves. And we shouldn't ever be afraid to be proud of Bangladesh and actually sing our praises and say we're from Bangladesh, we're Bengalis. Because a lot of the times, a lot of people put their head down when they mention Bangladesh and Bengali. We shouldn't do that. We should be singing on top of rooftops saying, we're Bangladeshis. Yeah. So
there's nothing.
Thank you. But what you need to realize is media plays a very important role. Bangladesh is remembered as country of poverty, country of flood, country of corruption, country where there's political instability, and it's really important that our media, some of the things that you guys promote through ILB. If the audience was significantly bigger, that will go out and say, look at the wonderful sides of Bangladesh, look at the wonderful, culture of Bangladesh, look at what Bangladesh has to offer. But instead, when we have news headlines, there's flooding in Bangladesh, there's riots in Bangladesh, there's school children holding the Prime Minister to hostage. Things like that we need to avoid. So that, and media plays a really important role to portray the good sides of Bangladesh.
Well, this is why I'm doing interviews like this. All the interviews we've done is to actually promote good people, the successful people in Bangladesh, so they can get inspired. Like for today, I'm sure a lot of things we've discussed. I'm sure that people can take good things away and be inspired. And that's all we want. We need to promote the good work that Bangladesh is doing out there. There's a lot of good things that are happening in Bangladesh as well as in the UK from Bangladeshis. And you're a good example there. Did you want to say?
In terms, like since we're still on the topic of education, one of the burning questions that's sort of burning at the back of my skull is the future. Yeah. All
right.
Yeah. You will be.
Sorry, I'm only joking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You don't need to put a heater in this house with all this heat emanating from my head. Now, what I was sort of trying to get at is the future of education, the future of identity. Nowadays, a lot of Bengali kids, like the newer generation, they're far more fluent in, I don't even know how to describe the language. It's not English. It's not even Banglish, as in Ada Bangla, Ada English. It's not Banglish, it's Textlish or something. Textlish.
You think of some
weird
words.
LOL, laughing out loud. Or rolling, it's abbreviated so much that Grant has actually taken leave of absence, indefinite leave, as in, that's it, I packed my bags, I'm not coming back anymore. Writing, spelling is horrendous. Now, all that aside, I'm not blaming you. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, the way trends are going, life as it is at the moment, it's quite fast, especially with all the technological advances that we have. Life is quite fast because we've got information at our fingertips. I mean, forgive me for saying this, but it's the reality. But even if we go into the bathroom, we have a vast array of knowledge at our fingertips to keep us occupied within those 5 to 10 minutes or whatever time you spend. And it's like our brains are thinking so fast that our mouths can't keep up with it, or our fingers can't keep up with typing. So we're losing touch with language, firstly. Secondly, we're losing touch with culture and heritage, because I've taught my kids to read and write Bangla, and I've taught them in the traditional way and also phonetically. And I've even got a very famous Bangla to English, English to Bangla phrase book and dictionary from A.T. Dev, and that book is from 1987.
Right.
And I'll just quickly show you.
Oh, you got the book there.
Oh, yeah, it's there.
I think somebody's point is we're losing a lot of. He's got a really good point with regards to spelling.
I heard what Ijaba said. Your viewers can see your book. I've had a similar one. I've had a similar one. I've seen the one with English to Bangla. What is really important is don't get disheartened. We are evolving as a society. Okay.
87.
Right. We are evolving as a society, and in terms of our human mind, I've always been a believer that we don't use more than 5% at any one time. If you think about your school day, if someone said to you, you could sit in front of a small gadget which fits in your pocket communicate with me in the different part of the country or even different part of the world, he would have said, get lost, okay? Our kids are smarter than we think they are, okay? In terms of evolving language, the example that I'm going to use is I was fortunate to spend some time in South Africa back in 2001. And I met a lot of Indian people. And these Indian people, they've never been to India. But they call themselves Indians because the South African government classified people as whites, blacks, Indians, and others. So there was a large population, I think over 1 million people in Durban who have Indian background. They were highly intelligent, educated people because the people in my group were all doing masters in law because I was at a UN conference. And the important thing here was they still maintain that they're Indian, whether they like it or not. The government called them Indians. They couldn't speak Hindi, they couldn't write Hindi, but their identity was still Indian. So are we going to be at a stage where our kids are going to forget Bangla? Possibly. Right? As parents, how do you make sure that they remember Bangla language? We learned French when you're back in school in Oldham. My students learn Spanish as well as Arabic and one other language. Right? Unless I go to France and Belgium and French-speaking countries, I will not try out my French, and that's going to stop. So it's our job as parents to make regular visits to Bangladesh if we want to preserve that language. Otherwise, you will find
do that. People are not fortunate enough. You say that, everyone can't just go to Bangladesh every year. So what
I know, but it is fine. What you will find is even my own parents, they can understand the English language because their grandchildren, switch between languages. They spend most of the time speaking English. They want to force the Bangla. The kids just get on with the English language, and now they've accepted it. Right? So the next generation will say, okay, English is our language. We are British people of Bangladeshi heritage. But if people want to preserve the language, there's a lot of work to be done. And as you mentioned before, the Bangla schools are closing. The Bengali books are not coming through. So people's priorities are different. You started off the show by saying you've got parents celebrating their child's GCSE, A-level, and university degree on social media. It's important that we do that. Do we want to hold our children back? I'm not saying language is holding them back. Language is actually a skill. It's a skill, but how important is the language to you? How many people do you know in Oldham and Rochdale, where a lot of your viewers are, or in my case, Tower Hamlets, are making a living by using the Bangla language? People don't even use translators these days. Translation services are dying. So many NHS services might get in translators, because that's a pledge that they made. With the budget cuts, that's one area that's going to disappear over time. So, it depends how passionate you are about language as part of your identity. And I think language is really, really important. But can we make our children read and write in Bangla, English, French, Arabic, and so on? That's a big ask. Something we'll have to give. Something we'll have to give. And the reality is, over time, English is going to be our language. We will be British Bangladeshis. English as a language.
I think really made some good points there, and I totally agree with you. But one thing I would say about social media, I know we're all negative about social media, and there is negativity, but there are positive sides to it. For example, this ILB page, this interview that we did. So if we can utilize social media in a positive way, there's a lot to get out of it. You've just said some really good points there.
Well, I will say to you, Idris, you've got children of school age. Make sure they are not spending time on social media. They're not becoming addicts. They need to spend time on being young people, okay? Away from the gadgets as much as they can, so that when they're older, they can use the gadgets. Because if they become too dependent on Google, then all the textbooks will disappear. And when there is a power cut or battery dies, then they will not have the ability to research themselves.
In my household, mashallah, all my kids have grown up. The youngest is like 25. So in my house, I have a golden rule. Once you step in the threshold, the only language that goes is Bangla. You only speak Bangla in the house. When we're outside, or efficiency of communication, sometimes it's far more efficient to speak to them in English, because to get the point or the message across rather than Bangla, That's the only time we break the rule. Once we're at home, when we're outside, it's different.
Brilliant.
So, you know, maybe, you know, like some of us need to make,
you
know, some rules like that. Also establish that Professor Google isn't everything. Sometimes parents also know. And yes, going back a few years, you know, like even our parents, you know, like our parents, sometimes, you know, you got stuck on maths, or some, I don't know, let's say we're reading out, you know, a passage from Wordsworth, for example, and I'd approach my dad and, you know, basically, you know, read out a passage and say, can you help me understand that? Now, fortunately, you know, my dad was quite a learned man, and he used to, you know, analyze the words, used to sit down with me and give me examples. And the way he used to do it, I used to picture them straight away in the head. And I've done the same for my kids as well. And it's also important, like, for example, you were saying, talking about parents' evenings and so on, and people back in the days, they didn't really, you know, pay much attention. I was brought up in Bethnal Green, you know, and I went to Columbia Nursery, Columbia Primary.
Went to Columbia
Hillnock.
I know them very well. I used to teach at
Columbia Road, and then where Bethnal Green College, Technical College.
Dainford.
It used to be called Dainford.
Dainford?
Yeah, Dainford. That's where I went.
Yep.
And you know, the point I'm trying to make is, like, sometimes, you know, parents, they don't intend to neglect, you know, the children, simply because they have other pressures, for example, worldly pressures. Like you mentioned earlier on in the interview, you know, worldly pressures like we have to think about family back home. We have to think about, you know, paying the bills that have just dropped through the letterbox. And sometimes we actually need to find a balance of that, you know, to compromise so that the kids, our children, don't feel neglected to a point.
Absolutely, yeah.
And nowadays, things are changing. Things are definitely changing, probably from my generation, because I realized that, you know, like when I was a kid, I realized that, like you said, you know, my dad had a shop in Commercial Road, and
got about 10 minutes left, so
yeah.
Carry on. Yeah.
And basically, you know, like essentially, you know, I knew how hard he worked. For Zorfoidia, he used to be off work, come rain, shine or snow, and then he used to come back about 7-8 o'clock after closing shop. And INSAF, you know, INSAF plays a part as well, because you can physically see, you know, he's drained, he's absolutely shattered. And sometimes you want to approach him, but you don't, thinking, you know, or he's going to shout or whatever. Now, with our generation, it's changed because we've actually gone through that, and we don't want to do the same for our kids. And now, mashallah, you know, our kids having children, they're growing, and I can clearly see the huge difference, the generational gap, the understanding and the parenting skills have changed so much over the years. It's a huge arc.
Okay.
Anyway,
so anyway,
back to you.
Because we did say 1 hour, but we're running on for 1.5 hours, right? Before I do the final segment, I'm going to leave the fast shot, the Khatib Gali one. I am going to leave the final word to you, Ashid Ali, about the message. But first of all, I'd like to thank you for coming on to. I think today's interview, I've learned so much myself. And I think a lot of people are saying so much positive comments.
We need to actually, you know, like get Ashid Bey on more often,
and
then talk on a specific, rather than such a broad. Because brilliant. I'm not satisfied. I'm not one like it.
The way you go, I think if I didn't stop you, you can carry until 12 o'clock. I know what you like.
Yeah,
I can't stop you.
You know what? If talking was an Olympic sport,
this guy,
I'm going to bring home.
I'm going to stop you there because I have limited time. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to finish it. So I'm going to. But when you do your own show, you can carry until 12 o'clock. But I was just going to say, I'm going to leave the last word to Ashid Ali. Before I do that, like I said to you, we've got a lot out of this, and we're just so grateful that, you know, you come on here and, you know, gave us your comments, your views, and all that. And I'm sure a lot of our members appreciated that. So I want to leave the final word to you before we do our Khati Bangani quiz. That's a fun quiz. We've got a final message, and the same rule applies to you. Very quick and short, sharp and simple.
Yeah.
Drop.
Go for it.
No, I'm asking you. We're not doing the quiz yet. Do you have any final words, or do you want to leave
My final words. It's been a pleasure to be here. We've had some technical issues, but it's really important that we don't hold our children back based on what our ideals were 30, 40 years ago. Okay, things are changing, times are changing. The workplace is changing, and as we mentioned before, I'm really pleased to see not just in London, but in places like Oldham and Rochdale, people are going to work, wearing shirt and tie, coming home, doing a hard day's work without having to carry or lift anything. So we need to make sure that the next generation, when iPhone 11, 12, 13 comes out, technology will change, workplace will change, and our young people need to be prepared for that so they can adapt to that changing world.
Thank you.
And
Before I do that, let me shout out to people watching. Mark Ali Khan is watching. A friend Anwaruddin Bhai is watching.
Ash Boy is watching.
Ash Boy Saluddin Bhai is watching. My friend and teacher Afruz Mia is watching. He's actually a teacher as well, Afruz Bhai. So welcome, Assalamualaikum, Afruz Mia. There's another question for you. One more question. Please let him go soon. Can't be up late on school night. He said to let you go.
Thank you, Jalil Bhai.
I'm going to blame you.
Some of us have to wake up very early in the morning. Yep.
So, back to this phone quiz. Are you ready for it? This quiz
is
all about how Khati Bangali you are, right? You're going to have to answer quick questions, honest answers, okay?
Fine.
So, are you ready for it?
Go for it.
First question, do you wear a lungi at night or sleep?
Lungi.
Do you wear lungi?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, night time.
Lungi all the time.
Okay. Do you have a gamsa at home? Do you have a gamsa at home?
I don't have a gamsa, no.
Yes or
no gamsa.
no? Right. Just quick question. You choose which color, red or blue? Quickly.
Blue.
Red or blue?
Blue is Everton.
Village or town? Village or town?
I prefer the village.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
When you have tea, have you ever had tea on a saucer? Have you ever had that?
No. No.
Right. Do you have butter sandal? Yes or no?
At the moment, no. I like butter sandal, but at the moment, no.
No. Okay. Okay. Master Shab, Nina Sir. Master Shab, Nina Sir.
Both.
Go on, which one? No, one.
Sir.
Have you ever been fishing?
Yes.
Final question. T-shirt or vest?
T-shirt.
Oh, right. That's the end of the quiz. And I don't think you've done that well, I'm afraid. Let me count the scores for you, okay? 1, 2, 3. Oh, my word. 1, 2, 3. You've only got 4. 4 out of 10. You've only got 4. Right. Let me go through the first one, right? Lungi or Lungi, you said yes, which is good. Gamsa Goronai. So you didn't get any points for that. Red or blue, you said blue. When I say red, Bangladesh are flagging red and green, right? So if you said red, you would have got a point. Village or town, you said village, you got a point there. Tea or coffee, you said tea, you got another point. Tea, if you have tea, when you said no, so you didn't get a point for that. Batasan Koronai, you didn't get any points for that. Mastrusha, sir, you said sir, so you didn't get any points for that. Have you ever been fishing? You got a point for that. A t-shirt in a vest. I'm not actually getting the book. When you said t-shirt, so you didn't get a point for that. So
all right, I'm going to be devil's advocate.
Okay,
give him that one.
Which one? The last one.
Yeah, the last one, the shirt. Because sometimes it can be quite embarrassing to walk about in a vest.
Okay, we'll give you that last one.
Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 out of 10. Ashid Ali. So, from all our guests that we've interviewed, you're on bottom of the table now. What do you say
This
to
one,
that?
I can live with being on the bottom of the table. So 3 weeks in August I spent in Hajj, and the company said, I'm not going to name them, I'm going to give you Bengali food. Bengali food does not mean you give them dal and bath twice a day for 23 days. Right? What you need to remember is when you go to Bangladesh, they don't give you dal and bath anymore. Even our Rakhal and our people who work in our homes get better food than that. It's a way of holding our society back. When we were poor, we were dal and bath. We were probably kisuri at that time, but times have changed. Now, if you can have fish, you can have meat, you go for it. So,
This
so
is
the
all
answer is
about
gone.
of Khati Bengali anyway. Thank you so much once again.
Well, thank you.
Good sport, man.
Yeah, that's been brilliant interview. I would like to, thanks to all the people that have commented and listened in, not listened in, I'm saying viewed, watched us.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say?
No. You've been a great sport. Thank you for coming on. And inshallah, sometime in the near future, maybe we'll get in touch with a specific.
Can I just say to you guys, the offer of doing an ILB event in London, in Tower Hamlets, heart of the Bangladeshi community, is there for you. I shall provide you the venue. So get the date, plan the event, and I look forward to seeing you guys.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
So we're gonna end the. I think we need to end the show.
Yeah.
Are we gonna read any comments or?
Well, we've got some lulz here.
Lulz.
Yeah, that's fine. That is going off. Oh, we're looking at his fish tank now.
Oh,
enjoy my fish, yeah. Idris, you said fishing.
Yes.
Yeah. I've
I
got
saw your
vinegar, fish and chips. Yes. Oh,
Those were big. You can go fishing in that tank.
Eh?
Right, I'm going off. Bye-bye. Assalamu alaikum.
Right.
Assalamu
So we've got some really good comments. Shafi Rahman Bhai is watching. Ashur Rahman Ashboy is watching. Ash is saying keep it up. Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Rahed Ahmed Jalali is watching. Jackson me lul huida. I think it's regarding.
Can you explain what all the double O's are for?
No, I can't. It's probably, isn't it?
Laugh out,
Laugh
out, loud.
Laugh out.
No, it can't be. Out with the extra O.
Na. Ida mana besh lumba. Echmoy lumba huidia. Loud.
Right. I'm talking about laugh out, loud.
Yeah. Now out. It doesn't make sense that way, does it?
Right.
So Jackson, if Olympic had talking, I would bring home gold medals. Lol. Actually, do you know what? I reckon
you'd be in good competition.
Yeah.
Well,
I can talk forever, man.
You can
talk about anything.
We're gonna. People are leaving us.
Khairul Islam is watching as well, and Parvez Ahmed Jalil is saying thank you so much. Loved it. Thank you guys for watching. If you have found this slightly entertaining and informative, by all means, please do share, like, and leave us a comment, maybe about something like what we could do in the near future, what kind of topics you'd like us to cover. If a topic is a specialist topic, something that we can't cover, would look for someone who specializes with that topic. Absolutely. And ask them, either bring them on live into the room, or actually do a video live video call with them and bring it up. Some time ago, we were talking about what was it called? Are we alone in the universe? I mean, that went down quite well. If you want to go and watch that again, just in case, just saying, we've got our YouTube channel, which is YouTube/C/MB Studios, or, just go on Google and put down #erehhunchoni with no spaces in between, and that should bring up our Facebook, our YouTube videos, and then you can select it from there. And whilst you're there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because so far I think I've got 940 odd subscribers. I'm just a few short for my first 1,000. And so far, everyone who's supported us over the past just over a year and a half, thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. It's obviously none of us are making any money. It's all for fun and education and information, so that, you know, if we can help someone, you know, to achieve something, a better understanding of something, then that's our goal. And for those who don't know what MBS is about, MBS is a media broadcasting services and an internal joke Mamu Bagna studio. And our main purpose is to sort of promote education, promote local artists, promote artists, whether you're a musician, a singer, a poet, a dancer, whatever. It's to promote local talent. And coming up very soon, very, very soon, is a new studio that we're purposely making for a monthly musical event. So if you're an artist, if you're a musician, do get in touch, inbox us, and we'll take it from there. And as always, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. It's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Okay.
Or the other way. No.
Good night from
him. And it's
good
good night
from
from him.
No, from me.
All right. Good night from him. Good night from me.
Good night.